Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Fairborn City Schools Board of Education regular meeting, Thursday, December 2, 2021. Ann said she wasn't going to talk this evening, but would you stand up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
And with that, I salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Roll call, please.
Mr. McCourt.
Here.
Mr. Browning.
Here.
Mrs. Malad.
Here.
Ms. Reister.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here. Next item is to approve the agenda as presented. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Thank you, Andy. Roll call, please.
Ms. Reister.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Browning.
Yes.
Mrs. Malad.
Yes.
Mr. McCourt.
Yes. Next item is to approve the minutes of the Thursday, November 4th regular meeting and Monday, November 15th, 2021, special meeting and work session with attachments for all the board members, and I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thanks, Jerry.
Second.
Thanks, Katie. Roll call, please.
Mr. Browning.
Yes.
Mrs. Malad.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. Reister.
Yes.
Mr. McCourt.
Yes. Next item is board reports for the good of the order. Katie, would you start us out?
Sure. I would actually like to start out with a big shout out to my cohort over here, Miss Mary Reister, who we just had the poinsettia sale for the Fairborn Music Club, and Mary single-handedly raised enough money to provide 335 poinsettias to 4 of the local nursing homes, including the Dayton VA. So she has brightened up the holiday season for a whole lot of people who maybe aren't going to be able to get out and about to see that this holiday season. So I think that's pretty cool. Just wanted to let everybody know that. Our marching band and color guard continue to soar. They participated at the MSBA championships at Miamisburg and placed 6th out of 21 bands in Class AA and earned top Ohio band in their class. And the guard placed 4th overall. I believe the percussion was 2nd at that event as well. They had their final performance at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis for Grand Nationals on November 11th, and I personally heard Mr. John Garetta say he thought it was the best music he had ever come out of a Grand Nationals performance out of the Fairborn kids that he had ever heard. So we were pretty proud of him for that. And I just want to give a heads up that holiday concerts are approaching in the next couple weeks. If you are interested in attending, they are all here at the high school auditorium. Middle school band will be Monday, December 7th at 7 p.m. High school band and orchestra will be held on Saturday, the 11th at 7 p.m. High school choir is on Sunday, the 12th at 2 p.m. And the middle school choir concert will be on Monday, the 13th at 7 p.m. And I believe most of those ticket sales are online. So if you're interested in doing that, hit up the Fairborn website and get tickets and come see the kids perform. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Jerry?
Yeah, I was going to comment on the Grand Nationals. I was able to make it over there also, and if you watch the marching band through the course of the year, how they come together and perform, and you could tell they were excited and proud, and being in that setting of that that indoor football stadium, you know, where the Colts play, is fantastic. This week, winter sports started. It's, you know, neat again to see the kids getting to be kids. You know, middle school basketball is going on right now in the gym, and it's exciting to get to go see all the sports, you know, including swimming and the other sports, bowling and those types of things. Also, the winter celebration Katie mentioned. You know, I was able to go to a couple of the band concerts before, and again, getting to see the kids be kids and perform is exciting to me. A couple shout outs. The first, we'd like to thank Fair Creek Church. They did an initiative called Give, Serve, Love, And they brought a lot of food in and items into the middle school Hawks Closet, which supports kids in need at the middle school. And I think it's a good example of how we, rise and soar together with our community. We also are partnering with Fairborn Fish Food Pantry in the city of Fairborn. The food pantry is moving to Wright Elementary on Funderburg Road. And this reuse of the space really will cover community's food needs, and it's centrally located, and it's in a good part of town in terms of being able to do that function. So they're actually moving this weekend. And going back to Fair Creek Church, I know they're helping Fish move from the location on Broad Street to Wright Elementary. So thanks for that also. That's it.
Thanks, Jerry. Andy?
Okay, I'll start out with my shout-outs. So we have the Fairborn Intermediate School National Elementary Honor Society supported Target Dayton with their Fun Day Fridays to provide Christmas bags filled with necessities for the holidays. And also, the Fairborn Intermediate School had their first ever virtual pumpkin auction as opposed to the live auction they've had in the past. Had 56 pumpkins auctioned and over $900 raised for the intermediate schools, families in needs. And this being my last regular board meeting, do a little reminiscing over the 8 years. When I first started, we had rooms full of people that were very angry about having their contract repudiated. We worked through that, and then we had a period of a lot of turmoil in the superintendent and treasurer's offices. In that 8 years, there have been 5 people occupying the superintendent's seat and 5 people occupying the treasurer's seat. That's stabilized, thankfully. Every measure we put on the ballot for taxes passed. There are 3 operation levies, 2 renewals and a replacement that we just passed, and 2 very exciting bond issue levies to renew our entire school buildings. So a lot has happened in that 8 years, and a lot of credit also goes to the people sitting here at the table with me and some of the past board members, Jerry Luce and in particular. So that's I think all I'll say about that.
Thank you, Andy. Mary?
Well, although I would love to take credit for the poinsettias, I would have to say that the 59 people who donated the money to make that happen are the bigger winners here. I also want to give a shout out to Vicki at the primary school and her team for putting together handmade cards for the veterans at the VA. I have to tell you, that's probably my most favorite part of this whole thing for the past 3 years, is reading these adorable little cards. I also want to say thank you to the parents who helped sort a gazillion poinsettias and helped deliver them to Wright, Trinity, and Wickshire. So thank you to all of those people who made that possible, because without you, it would not have made it. So my shout outs, Fairborn City Schools in collaboration with Inclusive Fairborn is sponsoring the 2nd annual Martin Luther King Jr. Art, Essay, and Video Contest. The contest is open to students in grades 3 through 12 in the areas of artwork, essay, and video. Art entries will be displayed at downtown Fairborn merchants and other locations throughout the community. All entries are due by Friday, December 17th, 2021, and should be submitted to the student's teacher or the school main office. If you need details, those can be found on the Fairborn City Schools website at fairborn.k12.oh.us. Also, Fairborn Primary School will host their annual Family Night on Thursday, December 9th from 6 to 8 p.m. The event will include bingo, read-alouds, a photo opportunity with Santa, the Grinch, and Olaf. The Scholastic Book Fair will be available for any gifts you may need. It is truly a great family event, and it's a good way to really kick off the season. So if you are free, you should swing by and check it out. It's very, very, very cool. And then it is my last board meeting as well. I'm not gonna, I don't have quite the tenure that Andy does, but I echo a lot of his sentiments. A lot of those reasons are why I decided to join the board. So I'm not good at off the cuff, so I made a little note here. My list of thank yous is far too long for this meeting, and I'm not gonna hold you hostage for that. So the past 4 years have been full of lots of learning, new friendships. I've gained some extended family. I have a whole new level of admiration for the public education system, from the administrators to the secretaries to the custodians to the teachers who love our children as if they are their own. It has been a ride. It has been a ride. And I would do it all over again. So I may be leaving the board, but this is not you getting rid of me. So thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Couple of shout outs. The Fairborn High School Prom Committee is hosting a poinsettia sale on Friday, December 3rd from 4 o'clock to 6 p.m. in the main lobby at Fairborn High School. Cash checks and credit cards will be accepted. 4-inch, 8-inch, red, pink, white, 6.5-inch poinsettias in red and pink, white or marble. You can pre-order via the email at lmiller1@fairbornk12.oh.us. Secondly, next I guess I'd like to echo Jerry's comments about winter sports gearing up here. We've got bowlers coming, we've got basketball people coming, wrestlers are busy, sweating and getting ready for their season, but winter time's a good time. We can go inside and kind of get together, a close-knit group, and watch our athletes as they go through their winter season. I guess I would like to say to both Mary and Andy publicly that they have been a great contribution, and given us a great contribution to this board. When I first met Mary,
Uh-oh.
I didn't know what to say, but she's been a breath of freshness and sunshine to us, and never know what's going to come out of her. But thank God we haven't made her too mad, so where we see that other side either. Andy has been a staple in this community, along with his lovely wife Donna, and Andy's done some great things. Andy's kind of our guy when we want something heard loud and clear at the state level. Andy's our flag carrier. So to both of you, I would just like to say thank you for your service on the board. And like Mary said, you're not going to get rid of us either. So we'll be leaning on you. So, and that's all for board reports and for the good of the order. Mr. Philo, recognition of visitors and public comments.
Mr. President, we have two people that wish to address the board tonight. First is Ken Reese, who wants to speak on the topic of mass. If you'll come up here, the microphone is right there on the table. I will time you.
Thank
You
you.
have 5 minutes.
2 weeks to flatten the curve. Trust the science, they said. They shut down the entire world, all for what equates to be the common cold. The ones who questioned them were turned into criminals. It's time to wake up. It's not about science, it's not about safety, it's about control. The schools are priming our children for what's called Agenda 2030, a world where, quote, you will own nothing and you'll be happy. This is the plan to destroy the family unit, instill a sense of fear, and take control of every aspect of our lives. George Orwell couldn't imagine a world so defiled and so dehumanized, yet we're living in it today. Our every move, our every thought, our deepest desires are tracked, traced, and recorded. The media spouts propaganda of fear, hate, and isolation. It triggers our fight or flight response, which literally shuts down the part of the brain responsible for logic. Stop living a life of fear. Stop scaring our children. The damage is irreversible. The government has exceeded their authority and made policies contrary to the will of the people. We must stand up and stand together. We must recognize the true power we have as we the people. We must instruct the government to carry out our will and demand that they recognize our power as parents and as citizens of the United States of America. Reiterate to them that all political power is inherent in the people, that they work for us, that they are there to serve us. The government was created for our benefit, not to be ruled over. I'm here to ask the school board one question. Are you in possession of or slated to receive any federal or private funding or grants from any entity under the condition of masking, vaccine, or any other COVID-related protocols for staff and students in the Fairborn school system? I'm aware that the state of Ohio received $12 billion for their COVID-related protocols. $440 million went to the school districts. The Fairborn school system alone received almost $1 million and is slated to receive $4.4 million with stipulations that the COVID protocols are enforced. That equates to $3,000 per student. I'm also aware that the CARES Act money doesn't have to go to COVID protocols, can be used for construction, salaries, and other various purposes, giving other motives besides the health of our children for putting mask mandates. You put us in a corner and you're getting paid to mask our children. The Nuremberg Code states, the voluntary consent of the human subject is absolutely essential. This means that the person involved should have legal capacity to give consent, should be so situated as to be able to exercise free power of choice without the intervention of any element or force, fraud, deceit, duress, overreaching, or other ulterior form of constraint or coercion. Our children do not have the power to consent. Therefore, the mask mandate for the children violates the Nuremberg Code. Your declaration of a mask mandate for the COVID-19 diagnosis criteria for a series of pneumonia and influenza-related symptoms and the allegations of existence of a novel coronavirus is based on a series of assumptions that are patently false. No state official reviewed for accuracy or veracity any of the causal statements made in the mask mandate, which contain false, misleading, and terror-inducing statements. Gene Lawley, acting as superintendent, failed to provide adequate testing to confirm or deny the presence or absence of a novel coronavirus. And based on recent reports from testing of incarcerated persons reported by Reuters, 96% of prisoners testing positive for coronavirus are asymptomatic, demonstrating a failure to establish even a statistical link between the virus and the disease. Neither Gene Lawley nor any public health officer has followed evidence-based, peer-reviewed clinical science showing that neither social distancing nor the wearing of masks has any clinical effect in a healthy population.
About 30 seconds.
And that instituting such policies exclusively for the inducement of fear and terror in the population and financial gain. The board has made rules and policies without authority, and those policies are therefore null and void. Stand with me and let them know that if they don't do what we say, that it's our duty and responsibility to do everything in our legal power to make sure that they don't hold those positions any longer. Join me to abolish this tyrannical government. Let's go, Brandon.
Mr. President, if you would allow me, Mr. President, if you could allow me to briefly answer the question Mr. Reese posed.
Sure.
Um,
Without objection.
Okay. Mr. Reese, as the person in charge of the money that you referenced from the federal government going to the state for the CARES Act money and the COVID, responsible for all the regulations and what it can be used for and not, there is no stipulations about mask mandate whatsoever. There are stipulations of what it can be used for, but there are no the money is not tied to mask mandate or not mask mandate, so. in
Okay,
terms
so
of-
you guys can get the $4.4 million, and you can take the masks off the kids, and you can still get the money.
They are not tied in one way or the other, so if you.
Okay, so why don't you take the masks off the kids?
So if you'd like to discuss it further, please give my office a call and I'll discuss.
I've
the
talked,
requirement.
I've called,
Right.
I've talked to you guys,
Yep. So-
and you guys are telling me that the parents don't have a say, basically.
We're
We
not
don't get
here-
to vote?
Mr. Reese, we're not here to debate. I just wanted to briefly
Okay.
answer your question.
Okay.
So, thank you. Next up, Mr. President, is we have Annabelle Lynn. And she wishes to talk about masks as well.
You guys should all be fired. You hurt us. Kids should not be treated this way. You cause nosebleeds, mental infections, and sweaty face to where you can't breathe. Stop all face coverings. I'm a 9-year-old girl. I had major nosebleeds because of it. I command no mask in the school. I hope you go to jail for treating kids like this. We believe in God to pray no mask. We the people don't like it.
Thank you, Annabelle.
I have a suggestion.
Mr. President, do you want to recognize Ann?
Yes, we will. Go ahead, Ann.
Katie, when you listed those concerts,
Yes.
I think if you contacted Mackenzie Taston at the Fairborn paper,
Yes.
she'd be happy to put that in, and a lot of the seniors would probably appreciate that information.
Okay, thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ann.
Thank you, Ann. Next item is school district presentations. Mr. Lawley.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. First up is a facility, excuse me, a facilities update from Mr. Jeff Patrick.
Good evening. We'll start with the Wright School. As you heard Mr. Browning say earlier, we've been working to get that building ready for the food pantry. We've had our maintenance crew in there running some electric and so forth, and they've moved in a little bit, and I believe they're moving in the rest of this week. So hopefully that all goes well for the community. At the primary building, we've had several questions about, what does the next phase look like? The next phase is phase 3. Many of you know that we're still under construction. We've got parking lots and playgrounds and that kind of stuff to put in and demolish the 5 Points building. That all is kind of dependent upon how we finish with the roofing materials at the intermediate school. Right now, we're still scheduled to get those roofing materials in January. If for some reason we wouldn't get those in January, and for some reason we wouldn't be able to move into that new building next summer, we might need the 5 Points building. So as far as phase 3 at the primary, everything's kind of in a hold pattern until we determine when the roofing materials will come in exactly for the intermediate building. At this point in time, the substantial completion for the new intermediate building is still May 31st of 2022. And at this point in time, we're still supposed to get the roofing materials in January of 2022. So if that all holds, I don't think it'll be an issue to get into that building, but I just want people to be aware of the fact that the roofing materials are a big snag at this point in time. So we'll move forward the best that we can. Also want to inform everyone that the furniture bids will start advertising Tuesday for the intermediate school in the Dayton Daily News. They'll run for 3 weeks, and we will open those bids on January the 4th of 2022. We'll open those bids, and board members will probably need a special board meeting to vote on those. I think that date that we're trying to have a special board meeting is January 10th or 11th, Monday or Tuesday to do that. And then we can get those letters of interest out to those vendors and so forth. That would give us about 5 months to get the orders in and those materials into our possession to start installing those in the middle of June. That would give us 30 days to install the desk and the chairs, and then we would move the teachers' equipment and boxes and materials from the 5 Points building into the new building starting July the 11th, and teachers would have access to that building if all goes well on August the 1st. So we're starting to get through that process. There's not a lot of play in those dates, but we are starting to see the end. And if you've seen the website this week, you'll see that there's some blacktop that's gone down on parking lots and so forth. So it's pretty exciting to see that moving forward. Over at the high school, for several weeks, we've been working on the VE list, which is called the Valued Engineering List, to try to help with the budget overage that the estimates came in with. We've worked through that for the last 2 weeks or so. We worked today on the GMP, which is the guaranteed maximum price from Peterson. I think we've got a pretty good understanding of where we are with that. And once again, I think Mr. Philo might have mentioned that next week, maybe Thursday, August the 9th, try to have a special board meeting to approve the GMP. As far as the wetlands go, yesterday we finally did receive an email from the Army Corps of Engineers. They were requesting more information, still debating whether or not the site that we're building the high school on had ever been disturbed or not. So we had to do a public records request for the Ohio Department of Transportation to be able to show that that land had borrowed material from it on top to be able to build up 675. So that has been a process. They also said that they would like to basically be able to finish that project as early as December, the earliest part of December. We also are waiting on the Ohio SHPO, Historical Preservation Office, that will then take the findings and determine on whether or not there needs to be an archaeological study. So it's all kind of lumped together. So we're waiting on them, and as soon as CTL, the company that we've used to help us get through that process, gets the information from ODOT and we get it submitted, hopefully we can move that process forward. We have made another payment towards the 1.2 acres of credit. That's not the amount of wetlands that we're using. We're using less than a half an acre, but you have to buy additional credit for double the amount that you needed. So we have made 2 payments for that in the amount of $6,200 per payment. You have to do that every 6 months to keep your application in process. That all goes towards our overall payment. I think the cost was about $68,000 to do that. So $68,000 every time we make a $6,000 payment, that price comes down. But we're just trying to get through that and understand the processes with the Army Corps of Engineers. So any questions about anything? We've got a lot going on.
Just a few things.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Special presentation by the board president, Mr. McCourt.
Okay, I guess first of all, I'd like to maybe just kind of give everyone a chance to say anything that they feel like they would like to regarding our 2 board members, Mary Reister and Andy Wilson. Gene?
Yes,
We'll
thank
ask you
you.
to start us off.
Yes. I think I can speak on behalf of the entire Fairborn City Schools employees in thanking Mr. Wilson and Ms. Reister on the outstanding job that you have done over the years. I know sometimes it's a thankless job, but your leadership and what you displayed, and as you mentioned, both of you, the bond issues that were passed, not only that, but when we needed to make things better with our students throughout the district and we needed the monies, you made those available and you supported that for our kids. We have taken together, working together, especially under your leadership, we've taken this school district to a whole nother level, and we're starting to see the benefits with the new primary and the intermediate going up, and now the high school. So again, on behalf of not only our teachers, our administrators at central office, we want to thank you for all the support in particular that you have shown to our kids. Thank you.
Thanks, Gene.
Mary?
Mary? You want me to
I'm
talk about me?
Katie?
Mary, what do you want to say about yourself?
I don't know,
We have that
Katie.
much
You're pretty
time.
good about talking about me.
I will miss you both. Mary and I probably get into more trouble than we should. I don't know why they stick us next to each other. It confuses Pat all the time. Andy, your leadership will be sorely missed, and I don't know who's going to go to Columbus now that you're not going to do it.
Oh, I may still be going over there.
Good,
I'll
good.
just, I'll be able to say things in a manner that I may not have been able to say as a board member.
Well, I hope you do that, and I hope you come back and give us reports on what happened, because your leadership will definitely be missed. And Mary, I have always contended that, not that city council is better, but, you know, that you were meant for bigger and better things, that this, the whole city, we serve a very small pocket, you know, of people here on the school board that are very important to this community, but city council is, it's a, you know, it's a lot of people and a lot of things, and you're gonna be awesome at it. You've got the connections and the people that you know, and I'm so proud of you, and I can't wait to really lean on you when we need stuff. So, just expect that.
Thanks, Katie.
Jerry?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you know, Andy was on the board when I came on 6 years ago, and he helped me a lot in terms of joining the board and pushing towards the progress and those kind of things. And after 2 years, Jerry Luce left the board, and we were kind of like, what are we gonna do? And found out Mary was interested in running, and obviously got elected, and she's been a real asset to the board. So they've both helped a lot in terms of what the district has been able to accomplish. Both care a lot about the employees of this district. I can tell you that from working with them and pushing for things. And Mary's on to bigger and better things with city council, and I know she's gonna help not only now improve Fairborn schools, but help improve the city of Fairborn. So thank you both for the help you've been the last few years.
Thank you. You're welcome. Mr. Philo?
Not much more to say, except Andy Wilson is a man of few words. The old commercial, if you talk softly, you knew when Andy spoke, that carried a lot of weight. We will miss Andy, but we'll also frequently touch base with him because he represents common sense. Mary, not a person of few words, but a person of choice words. Again, Mary, we like your leadership. We like your common sense. We will frequently call on you as well. You are always welcome at Fairborn Schools, and please reach out to us anytime you want to.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Just to wrap this up here on this end is, Jerry Browning and I ran for board, and we were after one big thing, and that was restoring the trust. And this is not a two-man job restoring the trust, it's a board job to restore trust. And I think Andy, coming off of another board and coming into a new board situation, maybe had a little bit to learn himself, but these people helped this board restore the trust. I know when Katie ran with us, I never knew that there were so many cotton picking houses in this voting district. We hung things on doorknobs. I've never seen so many doorknobs in all my life, but
She got bit while we were doing that, too.
yeah, she got bit by
By
a
a
dog.
dog.
And the dog's still living. So, I mean, with Mary and Andy, they provided leadership for us. They've provided, I think, a tone of sensibility. And that's something that I think all boards, regardless of school board or in the private sector or the business world, I think that's something all boards need. And I've heard Mr. Lally say it. I've heard horror stories about other boards in other districts, and they just were in a lot better shape, let's just put it that way. So thank you to both you, Andy. I'd like to thank your wife, Donna, for putting up the late hours at times and keeping you out in executive sessions. Mary, you're not going to be too far away, so we're going to come running. But At this point in time, if I can ask Mary and Andy to maybe meet me out front here.
Pam, you wanna get a picture?
Mr. Lawler, you want to join us, please?
I know, it's the first thing I did. I probably wouldn't have it before.
I would like to present this to Mary Reister for her time on the board. Andy as well, thank you so much for everything you do. Do this in here.
I'm smiling.
And can I ask the rest of the board members to join us? Sure. Jerry, Kevin, will you join us as well?
I'm sitting with her back there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, moving along. Next item from Budget and Finance, Treasurer's recommendation is made to approve the following with attachments. Approve receipt of the attached monthly financial report for October 2021. May I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved. Second?
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Andy. Roll call, please.
Ms. Reister,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Browning,
Yes.
Mrs. Malad,
Yes,
Mr. McCourt.
Yes. New business by the board. It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the resignation of Board Member Mary Reister effective at the end of the day, 5 January 2021,
December.
or December 5th, 2021, as she will be sworn in as the Fairborn City Council person on the 6th of December. There's attachment along with this, which we've read. May I have a motion?
So moved. Oh, second.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks, Jerry. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Malad,
yes,
Mr. Browning,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Reister,
Abstain.
Mr. McCourt.
Yes. Next item, the administrative reports and superintendent's recommendation. Superintendent recommendation is made to approve the following.
A whole lot of stuff.
And I will direct your attention to item number 1, which is a credit recovery person that we just hired, as well as football coach, Mr. Larry Cox. He will be joining us, I believe, at the start of the year.
Mr. President, I would also like to call out on page 4, we would like to recognize Mr. James Williams, also known as Doc, Health PE at Fairborn High School, effective May 31, 2022, for the purpose of retirement. We request resolution of tribute for 34 years in education, 31 of which have been in Fairborn City Schools.
Thank you. Anyone else? We'll go over to page 6 if there's no other comments. And I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thanks, Andy.
Second.
Thanks, Jerry. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Browning,
Yes.
Mrs. Malad,
yes,
Ms. Reister,
Yes.
Mr. McCourt.
Yes. Item D is a first reading of attached board policy, policy PO 2261.02. This is Title I Parents' Right to Know. with attachments. And gifts and donations. Mary, I hate to do it to you, darling, but would you please?
Sure. All right, the Fairborn City Schools Board of Education would like to gratefully acknowledge the following gifts and donations. Please make yourself comfortable, it's a long list. Hawks Pantry, Baker Middle School, Terry Crawl made a food donation. Turf donations, Joan Dottel $1,000, Stephanie Peterangelo $500, Steve Ross $50. The Ron McDermott Scholarship Fund, I'm gonna butcher this, so we're just gonna go with Carolyn Christie of $75. Kathy Barber and Ron Russell, $250. Patricia Barrow and Michelle Roca, $25. Gwendolyn Bennett, $100. Terry Crawl family, $100. Thomas and Sharon Lochner, $100. Jay Steven Jr. and Katie Lee, $40. Irene May, $100. Linda Carone, $100. Julie Chun, $100. Davis and Kimberly Clifton, $50. Jane Clifton, $100. Dr. Donna Cole Dolbier, $100. John Cross, $50. Robert DePiero, $25. Joyce Dennis, $2,000. Roberta Elliott, $100. Edna England, $25. John and Linda Ferguson, $25. Dudley and Carol Fields, $50. Virginia Foster, $50. Rick and Linda Foles, $25. Michael and Patricia Geringer, $50. Ed and Sandy Gibbons, $100. David and Sharon Glant, $50. Michael and Teresa Gum, $100. Luella Haig, $200. Jeffrey and Nancy Hammock, $50. Michael and Cinda Hammond, $100. Julie Harmling, $100. Devon Houston, $40. John McDavid, $200. Karen McDermott Petros, $200. George and Tina Minos, $50. Jerry and Diana Neely, $50. Andreas and Maria Petros, $250. Pete Petros, $200. Karen Poland, $200. Judith K. Pye Living Trust, $100. Ted Reed, $180. Timothy and Joyce Seymour, $100. Paul and Beverly Shirley, $100. Susan Smith, $50. Jenny Snyder, $25. Mary Lou Sommer, $100. John and Ulta Spilson, $75. Randy and Nancy Sturts, $100. Billy Trimble, $100. Charles and Sandra Van Oosten, $100. Emily Webb, $200. M. Scott and Linda S. Wells, $50. John Waversky and Stephanie Archer, $200. Amy Wilkinson, $50. Danny and Carol Yeoman, $100. And I apologize if I butchered your name. Fred and Becky Hoffs,
Demidovich.
okay. Chuck Demidovich, Jessica Demidovich, Randy Demidovich, all $100. Blanche Brammer, Laura Cayley, Harriet Enzer, Stacy Fry, Mary Ellen Pace, Jerry Raphael Pace, Patty Reed, Joyce Seymour, Sherry Smith, Susan Smith, Marcia Tyson, Pam Thompson, Linda Wells, Barbara Wilson, $250. So thank you all.
You need a drink.
Not water.
Thank you, Mary.
If it please the board, we'll take a short recess, and then we'll go into work session. After the work session, we anticipate an executive session for items related to personnel. After the executive session, the only action item we anticipate is adjournment.